Hi YouTube, Kara here. I was just wanting to vlog today about the struggle between being a stay-at-home mom versus going back to teaching. Um, I have gone on maternity leave several times now, and it doesn't get any easier. I feel like um, when I go out on maternity leave, you're so excited because you're anticipating the baby coming, you're waiting for the baby to come, and then finally the baby comes, um, and then it's like the countdown all of a sudden starts to when your 12 weeks is up. And I know that getting 12 weeks is actually a lot of time because a lot of moms only get 6 or they might only get 8 if they have like a C-section. But I take the full 12 that I'm able to take for FMLA, and I just don't think it's enough time. Um, I have thought about being a stay-at-home mom and some different things that I could do. It's kind of scary. There's some pros and cons to both. We have 5 kids, so my husband and I have Addison. She's almost 9. Then we have Hatley, who's 6. Cooper's 4. Blakely will be 2 on the same day as Addison, that she turns 9. And then we have Sutton, who's 11 weeks. So I'm actually going back to work in 1 week, and I just feel really depressed about it. Like I feel like I kind of want to cry every time I hold her, and I feel like I have held her for the past 11 weeks. I've nursed her. I don't want to pump. I hate pumping. Um, and I mean, I will pump when I go back to work, but that's like one of the cons of going back is the pumping. Um, you, you know, teaching in the school, you have certain set times throughout the day. And so if you're feeling, you know, engorged or whatnot, you can't really necessarily just say, oh, well, kiddos, you stay here and I'll just, go and pump in the other room. And with budget cuts and everything, it's just not possible quite, frankly, to have somebody step into your classroom at any given moment if you need to pump. And so it's just, really nice to plan ahead to know when you're going to pump during special time, during lunchtime. Um, and you know, it's just not like holding your baby and feeding your baby. Pumping is, I think, some tedious work. Drops of liquid gold, especially when it's spilt, you want to cry, and sometimes that happens. And trying to eat your lunch and answer emails and, possible phone calls or students who might leave a little bit early, who have to come in and you're like, can't come in right now, the door's locked. There aren't many open spots in the school to be able to pump. So that is one thing that I have a lot of anxiety about, and I don't know why. I've done it out of, the 5 so far. I have done pumping for Hatley and Cooper and Blakely. Addison, my mom would bring her to school. That was a great benefit of having my mom keep them. My mom would bring her to school. She would just meet me outside. I would nurse her outside, or maybe sometimes my mom would bring her in if it was good weather, and I would nurse her, and then they would go back home. But at that time, she was on solid. She was like 5.5 months old, so we started her on solids that way. I could do that, and she wouldn't be missing out on a lot of breast milk and being hungry and whatnot throughout the day. And so that ended up being, a really big con as far as returning back to work with each one of them, having to pump. Um, on top of having to pump, another con about going back to school is that I'm, going to be away from my babies. I miss some of their firsts. I don't want to have somebody else taking care of them. But at the same time, I became a teacher so that I could have my kids with me all the time. If it wasn't feasible to be a stay-at-home mom, I could have my children with me, um, and they would be able to have, the experience of their mom being there, on the school grounds with them, not with them all the time, but seeing them here and there, and then the same schedule all the time, year round pretty much. Teacher kids, they tend to stay after school, and I I don't know how much they like that or don't like that. Sometimes it's a pain because I have to, go and find where they're located at the end of the day when I'm ready to go home. Sometimes that can take 10 to 20 minutes depending on if they, take where they took their shoes off, if they put their book bags in somebody else's classroom or whatnot to play with some friends after school. And so sometimes that's a little bit of a headache. But overall, I, thought becoming a teacher would be the best stay-at-home type of job where I'm with my kids all the time until, of course, they age out of elementary school. And so I thought that that was kind of the way to go about that until, I started having babies. And for some reason, I've never wanted to go back after my maternity leave. You're just bummed out you don't want to leave your baby. But for some reason, this past summer, it was just significantly harder to go back. I'm not really sure why. I don't know if it's because Blakely was just, starting to get to that point where she was fun, she was talking, she wanted me all the time, she didn't want, me to leave her, and so, the bond that she had with my mom and dad as her caretaker, she slowly started to kind of lean that back towards mama, and she wanted me more, and that felt really good. Versus not wanting to come home with me at the end of the day. Granted, a lot of people think, oh, teachers, you just work from the time that you clock in the mornings, whenever you have to be there, and then you leave as soon as the kids leave at the end of the kids leave at the end of the day, and that's not the case. With me, I'm usually there for about 2 hours after my students leave. Sometimes 3 hours. It just depends. Preparing for my maternity leave with Sutton, our youngest, the leave that I'm on right now, I was there probably until about 6:30 every evening. And so right now I just feel really torn. Like I don't want to go back, but at the same time, if that was my plan not to go back, then I don't want to leave, my school with the students that I had and the parents anticipating my return. I don't want to leave them basically hanging in the balance of not knowing who's going to take over the classroom and whatnot. And so I do feel the need to finish out the rest of this school year, but I don't know what next year holds. None of us do really, but as far as like my job and my kids and everything, I don't know what that holds. I'd like to teach some cloth diaper classes, breastfeeding classes, if that's something, or maybe just like a little, support group for breastfeeding. And essential oil classes. Like there's a lot of things that I'd like to do, and there are some of the things I could do to kind of bring in some income if I do decide to stay at home. But those are some pros on the outside that I do know a lot about some little topics or whatnot that I could teach about. Could still be teaching. So pros as far as that's concerned, I could do tutoring. There are several other opportunities for me to do some different things. But on the con side, I am no longer kind of working towards my retirement in the end. And I know that seems like so little, like why would that matter if you could stay home with your kids? But it does because, one day my kids might need me to help them to take care of their children. And if I'm still working, I can't do that. And so anyway, I do feel like there are pros and cons, as far as continuing to work and not working. I would only be supplementing our income if I quit teaching and stayed at home. If I continue teaching, then I would have a steady income coming in every month, and I could, maybe do some things extra on the side. Then I'm taking, away from my kids the time that, I would be home with them if I did some of the things that I would just enjoy on the side. So, anyway, I know it's one of those decisions that like you have to make. I feel, I've prayed about it, I've thought about it, I've prayed about it so much that I think that I'm kind of overthinking it. And I kind of feel like, the Lord's going to lead me in whichever direction anyway. It's not like cut and dry, here's your sign kind of thing, that you should stay at home or you should, teach. I don't know, what His plans are for me, but whatever the Lord sees fit, that's my plan to follow. So until then, until I make a decision as far as what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of get some, more thoughts together and whatnot, and kind of look at our budget and see what we can do, what we can't do, and go from there. But I just pray about it and hope that it's something that I'll be able to see clearly in the future, very near future, hopefully, and that I'll feel better about the decision to leave my babies and have to return to work. Um, and maybe it'll, have a more positive outlook than kind of, I think, the negative one that I have right now, just because I don't want to leave them. I don't want to, I don't want to spend all that time away from them. But anyway, so thanks for watching. Bye.